Jon Jones' UFC title reign, and where it stands in history. After 1,501 days as UFC light heavyweight champion, Jon Jones' historic title reign came to an end late Tuesday when he was stripped of the belt and suspended indefinitely from competition. Jones, 21-1 MMA, 15-1 UFC, time as champion, which began in March 2011, was brought to a screeching halt as punishment for his alleged involvement in a Sunday hit-and-run accident in Albuquerque, NM, that left a 25-year-old pregnant woman with a broken arm and wrist. After his UFC debut in 2008, Jones quickly became one of the most accomplished fighters in company history. He turned pro more than 7 years ago and has already accomplished more than most will in a lifetime of competition. Jones stressed throughout his lengthy title reign that his goal was to be the most credentialed fighter and champion in UFC history, which is now far more daunting to add to his uncertain future. Nevertheless, Jones' title reign was one of the greatest runs in the sport's history. Check out the numbers behind his 4-year title reign. At 23 years and 8 months old, Jones became the youngest champion in UFC history when he defeated Mauricio Shogun Rua for the light heavyweight title at UFC 128 in March 2011. At 24 years, 2 months and 5 days old, he became the youngest fighter in UFC history to defend a championship belt when he defeated Quinton Jackson at UFC 135. His title reign of 1,501 days is the longest in light heavyweight history. Former champ Tito Ortiz held the previous record, 1,260. His 1,501-day reign is the 4th longest in UFC history behind former middleweight champ Anderson Silva, 2,457 days, former welterweight title holder George St. Pierre, 2,064 days, and current featherweight champ Jose Aldo, 1,621 days and counting. His 8 consecutive light heavyweight title defenses are the most in divisional history. His 8 consecutive UFC title defenses are the 3rd most in company history behind Silva, 10, and St. Pierre, 9. His 4 UFC title defenses in a 364-day span between September 24, 2011, and September 22, 2012, are the most by any champion in modern UFC history. His 9 victories in UFC title fights are tied with Matt Hughes and Randy Couture for 3rd most in company history behind St. Pierre, 12, and Silva, 11. His 5 stoppage victories in UFC title fights are tied for the 3rd most in company history behind Silva, 9, and Hughes, 9. His 5 victories over former UFC champions from the time he won the belt to the time he was stripped are the most in history. He outlanded his opponents, 714-326, in significant strikes during his title reign. His 714 significant strikes landed her 2nd most in UFC championship fights behind St. Pierre, 940. His 56.4% striking accuracy in title fights is the 3rd best rate in UFC championship history among competitors with at least 5 title belts and 350 strike attempts. He connected with 4.5 significant strikes per minute in title fights, the 3rd highest rate in UFC championship history among competitors with at least 5 title fights. His strike differential output per minute of plus 2.45 is also 3rd highest in UFC championship history among competitors with at least 5 title fights. He completed 18 takedowns during his title reign, at least 1 per fight, and was taken down just twice. He was awarded 5 fight night bonuses during his title reign, the 2nd most of any champion in UFC history behind Silva, 10. He fought to a decision 4 times during his title reign and unanimously lost just 2 of 20 rounds scored. He is the 10th fighter in UFC history to be stripped of a championship belt and the 1st in the light heavyweight division. He is the first of those 10 champions to be stripped out of disciplinary reasons. For more on the UFC's upcoming schedule, check out the UFC Rumors section of the site. Fight metric research analyst and live statistics producer Michael Carroll contributed to this story. Follow him on Twitter at MJFlipDescript.